you're not here to see the council. We're happy to have everybody today. I know it's a significant day in the life of quite a number of those in the audience today. That being said, I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules. Mr. Lawrence, a second by Mr. Gaines. Any discussion? Okay. All in favor of suspending the rules? It's approved on a 5-0 vote. Thank you. If the clerk would read those changes, please.
To the consent agenda, we're substituting item 5F, resolution for termination of easement at LZ Place subdivision, removing 5T, resolution for lease agreement with CB's Jamaican Jerk, adding 5SS, resolution for change order number 1 with Ronald Jefferson for Pops Ferry Extension, adding 5TT, resolution for change order number 2 with Ronald Jefferson for Pops Ferry Extension, adding 5UU, resolution amending the municipal budget for an omnibus budget amendment.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I'll second.
There's a motion by Mr. Lawrence and a second by Mr. Gaines. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. That's a 5-0 vote for the clerk. That brings us to the mayor's report. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to welcome all the kids and all the kids, parents and grandparents. This is a great day, and we're happy to have so many people here for a very special day. And I'm going to turn to Ms. Hunt and Ms. Hunt Tripp, too. The program is over to you now. So we're happy to have you, and I'll assist whenever you tell me what to do, okay? Very good. Thank you. Welcome, everyone.
I'm not going to need that. I'm not going to need that. Y'all hear me? Okay, good. Mayor Gillich, City Council, and citizens. My name is Martha, and I am... Oh, so you need it. Oh, my God. Sorry. Okay. My name is Martha Tripp, and I'm the chairperson of the annual Shoebox Float Contest. My mother, Ruth Hunt, loved children, and she and my dad, Walter Skeet Hunt, gave many years of their life to the Gulf Coast Carnival Association. It was my mother's wish for children to learn more about Mardi Gras. So what she did, she would go into the classrooms and talk about shoebox floats and encourage the children to enter. So my sister Susan and I have maintained this and want to keep it going for her. She not only did the shoebox float contest, but she also does the children's marching parade. Today, we are here to recognize and honor the winners of the 23rd Annual Shoebox Float Contest. The sponsors of the contest are Barry's U Pullet Auto Parts, Biloxi Bay Area Chamber, Biloxi Public Schools, the City of Biloxi, David N. Harris, Jr., Attorney at Law, Gulf Coast Carnival Association, the Coastal Mississippi Mardi Gras Museum, Shada Patano, PLLC, and Jennifer B. Schmidt, Realtor Keller Williams. Do we have any of those wonderful people that donated so much money here today? If we do, oh, Mr. Machado is outside. Ms. Hunt wants you to come in. Miss, there you go. Thank you. Today, I want to thank Bill Raymond. He is the City of Biloxi Historic Administrator, and my sister Susan Hunt for helping line up the students, making sure they all were accounted for. After this presentation, the winners and parents will be honored with a reception at the Biloxi Visitor Center, where their floats have been on display for a week. They will be honored with a king cake, punch, and they will receive their 2022 Mardi Gras shirts. So you will wear those the day of the marching parade. Before honoring our winners, I would like to recognize these people who will be up here today giving out the awards. It's funny, one of the little ones said, "I'm happy to get my reward, but when do I get my money?" I said, "You get that when you come up here." All right. So I'd like to recognize Jordan Church. He's right over there. He's president of the Biloxi Bay Area Chamber. And Tina, right here, she is the executive director of the Biloxi Area Bay Chamber. Mr. Jeff Elder, he's captain of the Gulf Coast Carnival Association. And Mr. Keith Williams, right here, he is chairman of the board of directors for the Gulf Coast Carnival Association and also serves on the Mardi Gras Museum board. And then Ms. Hunt in the back, Ms. Susan Hunt, she's president of the Coastal Mississippi Mardi Gras Museum. We appreciate you supporting this event. And each one of these people will be coming up here, and they will present the awards to your children. So we've all practiced in the back how to shake hands and how to accept our awards. Grades 4, 5, and 6 in the Biloxi schools, Nativity and Our Lady of Fatima, were extended an invitation to participate. At each school, the art teacher or an assigned teacher was responsible for the contest. We could not have done it without them. Thank you, Ms. Bouvette, Ms. DeMario, Ms. Denoyan, Ms. Fernandez, Ms. Hoxie, and Ms. Mindy. I know some of y'all are here, so give us a hand up. There you go. And I really appreciate all that they do. I send them a letter, and they follow right through with it. Each overall first, second, third place honorable mention float contest winner will receive today a certificate, cash award, a set of doubloons, Mardi Gras doubloons, and in each one of these bags are 2 sets of beads. One that's from the Gulf Coast Carnival Association, and the other is from the Mardi Gras Museum. The cash awards are first place, $30, second place, $20, third place, $10, and honorable mention, $5. They also will have the opportunity to participate in the Children's Marching Parade, February the 19th. Our winners will ride on the fire truck. Hopefully, parents, you brought what I put in your letter, a form or permission form for them to be able to attend and walk in that parade with us. If you don't, I'll have one on the 19th so you can sign it if you want. We want them to participate. We love that. We think that they will have a good time. Hopefully you have some extra beads. If you don't, we'll try and give them as many beads as we can. I do want you to know that when I was setting up the floats, they've been on at the visitor center for a whole week. All the people that I have been in there have commented on how great the floats look and how impressed they were with all the children's, what they had done. So I appreciate you parents letting them enter this and making it so successful for us. Okay, now at the end of this presentation, I do want you to know you do not have to stay to hear what the City Council has to say, unless you want to know why your street is torn up. Right?
Of course.
Okay, so you may leave and you may go down to the visitor center and have some cake and punch and make sure that they get their shirts. And don't forget to take their floats too with them. Thanks again to all the organizations and people for sponsoring this activity and honoring the students today. Now I'm going to announce each one of the winners, and we're going to go with first place winners first. I know you all want to clap for your own child, but let's wait till everybody gets up here, and then we will have all these people that have given them their honors and their awards. Y'all will come up here and they'll all get their picture taken. And then parents, you can take as many pictures as you want, okay? So here we go. I'm starting off with first place, 4th grade, London Bradley, Back Bay Elementary. There you go, you got it. Shanelia Collins, Nativity BVM. First place, we're all on first. This is all first place winners. 4th grade, first place. Riley Ramsey, North Bay. Laylee Ritchie, Pops Ferry. That one didn't show up. First place, 5th grade, Harper Higley, Biloxi Upper Elementary. Olivia Cordella, Nativity BVM. Sophia Gregg, Our Lady of Fatima. This is first place winner, 6th grade. Nora Roots, Upper Elementary. Dara Stevenson, Nativity BVM. Now, this is all of our first place winners today, and so, gentlemen, would you please get up there so you can get your picture with these? Just leave them right there. Okay, these two, hey. You got the second one, okay. Smile, everybody. Okay. All right, everybody, you all turn and go out that door, that way. Now we are honoring our second place winners, 4th grade, Tessa Suzari, Back Bay. Kinsley Satanovich, Nativity BVM. Bella Baelius, North Bay. Chelsea Bonaparte, Pops Ferry. These are our 5th grade, 2nd place winners. Addie Boudreau, Biloxi Upper Elementary. Allie Gruich, Nativity BVM. Second place winners, 6th grade, Stephen DeHartors. Mia Hester, Nativity BVM. Now this is the second place winners, so everybody now can give them a big hand of applause. And now parents, you can take your pictures.
Don't step on that child's hand, Jeff.
Okay, wait, let's move them over. Y'all move over. Y'all move over that way. Keep going. We want to get you in. There you go. There you go. Now we are honoring our 3rd place winners, 4th grade, Grace Francom, Back Bay. Eva Smith, North Bay. James D'Angelo, Our Lady of Fatima. Joshua Diaz, Pops Ferry. Third place winners, 5th grade. Madison Bustamento. I got it, Bustamento. I did it right. Biloxi Upper Elementary. Katie O'Grady, Nativity BVM. Third place, 6th grade. Lila Grace Watts, Nativity BVM. And that's our third place winners, so they will get a picture and give them a big hand of applause. Yeah, just, yeah, yes. Now we are going to honor our honorable mentions, fourth grade. Arcadia Mayfield, North Bay. Mackenzie McIntyre, Pops Ferry. Elijah Murphy, Pops Ferry. Evelyn Naranjo, Biloxi Upper Elementary. And honorable mention, sixth grade, Emma Strickland, Biloxi Upper Elementary. And this is our honorable mention, so we can get our picture taken and give them a big hand. Why didn't you get in there? Thank you all for coming today. I appreciate it. Ms. Hunt wants to say something. Hang on.
Hey, I want to tell y'all thank you very much, and I do want to tell you, Mayor, where are you? Some of the children want to know if they were going to get to meet the real mayor today. Okay, so they got to meet the real mayor, and thank you so much. I want to thank you all, you giving up your time to spend with us, and thank you to our sponsors. And you know, I used to be a school principal. I look out here in the audience, and I see some of my students, then I see their children, so I know I'm getting younger. All right. I hope you all enjoy your bread that I brought you today. Have a great day, and thank you for everything. Thank you very much. Happy Mardi Gras. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Happy Mardi Gras. I move to adjourn. Consent agenda, let's go.
Gotta watch those lawyers.
I didn't. We'll get away with that, huh?
Was there anything else under the mayor's report?
No, I'm finished with that report.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that concludes the mayor's report.
Excuse me,
Thanks
Mr.
to Ms.
President.
Hunt.
You want to get David Newman to come present the, in this part of this mayor's report as far as the audit, results of the audit. So I have any questions on the audit? I forgot about that.
Okay.
Okay.
I want to thank Ms. Hunt and Ms. Tripp
Okay.
for all the comments and the sponsors for that event. Thank you. We don't have any department reports. That brings us to council reports. We'll start with Mr. Lawrence in Ward 1.
You got it.
A couple things. The first Sunday we had a great day with Fred Hayes unveiling of the statue. We had a huge crowd. Can y'all hear?
Yeah,
Is that loud?
You good?
you can. Just speak a little louder, George, will be good.
I said Sunday they had a great day. They unveiled Fred Hayes statue. They had a huge crowd. Great honor for the man who done one of the few people that actually circled the moon from the United States. There's only 24, and he's one of them from Church Street in Biloxi.
Yep.
One of these days we're gonna get mics that actually work. Is working? Y'all can hear me or not?
Yeah, yeah.
We can hear you.
And they're usually loud enough anyway. Most time too loud. But anyway, that was a great thing Sunday. It was a fine event. You know, the mayor talked a little bit too long, but other than that, it was really a great event. You know how you get to, but then they start telling about I got socks on and they think, what? What that got to do with Fred Hayes? Second thing, he had a couple things on the audit they gave us last week was 6 months late. And I talked to Mike Leonard. You know, when you pay somebody to do these things, they should be on time. We're supposed to be getting the other one in June. And we just got last year, the 2021. I mean, excuse me, 2020. There's no reason for them things to be 6 months behind. And they brought us the book of extra questions. You know, they're supposed to get in June. Let's make sure they get in June. If you got to find somebody who can handle it, then we have to find somebody who can handle it. But I mean, that's 6 months late. That's way out of line for an audit report when we get ready to do the budget for next year. So I mean, that's we need to pay attention to those things. And those people got to be held responsible. You know,
Yep.
you know, but they pay, we pay them, they charge well, and their job to get the thing to us on time. So it should have been delivered in June or right around June, not 6 months later.
Can't argue with that. I can't argue with that.
Okay, so anyway, so that's on it today. That's just another thing.
Okay.
I want to ask, I called Nathan earlier. I think I missed him. Where are we at? A couple people called about the fireworks. Where are we at with the ordinance for the fireworks?
What was that? Howard,
The fireworks.
the fireworks.
Like the displays, the selling them, what they can find them on, you know. Say again?
On the fireworks ordinance, is that what? Yeah, it was tabled and can be, bring it up when you're ready as for the table.
We had the workshop on it, and I think that everyone was pretty much in agreement on everything. I'm not positive, but it just needs to be put back on the
That's what I
agenda for a
called you about
vote.
earlier, just to, so right now it's not even working. We just have a table to call it back, and we're gonna look at it then and set up what we're gonna do with it.
Well, why don't we just go ahead and put it
At
on
least it's something I can
next-
tell them. That's fine.
Right, why don't we put it on next week's agenda then?
That works for
All
me.
right, made a note of that. It'll be on next week's agenda. Thank you. Continue, Mr. Lawrence.
Okay. That's it. That was the main things. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Guines, Ward 2.
Yeah, just wanted to echo what George said about the Sunday actual unveiling of the statue. That was a great opportunity. That was great for the city of Biloxi. Fred Hayes Street is in Ward 2.
Thank you. Ms. Newman, Ward 3. Mr. Deming in Ward 4.
I know
Out of control.
we discussed the lights in front of Sunkist a couple weeks ago. Have we got any movement on that?
We contacted the power company. They went out, looked at it. They came back, gave us a price. We ordered the lights.
Okay, great. That'll be good news.
And
know-
I sent a note to Mr. Compton.
Okay, yeah, it helps.
Yeah, for Sunkist, 3 lights.
That's all right.
Mr. Glavin in Ward 6.
Yeah, any update on that? But yeah, we can get us a report, an update where we are for the next meeting, and then figure out what we can pull and how fast we can deliver that. But it was not in the 2022 budget as an item. So do we require a budget amendment adding to the expense budget if we were to do that? Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Barrett, Ward 7.
Yeah, again, just echoing the event Sunday, it was a great event. Good job, great job, administration putting that on and organizing that. We had a great time, and it was honor to meet Mr. Hayes. On Eagle Point Park, I know we still have parking lot, the pavilion's under contract, the fencing's under contract. I believe we've got bids out or shopping on the playground equipment. My question is, do we have enough money left to do all that? And the reason I'm asking is, do I need to go back to Jackson and ask for more money this session before it's too late? Or are we good on finishing that?
You have enough, there's enough to do everything that's on the list now if we don't add to the list.
Okay,
We've got enough the playground equipment, the pavilion, the fencing, the paving, those are all encumbered now, and there's still some change left.
okay. And then I'd ask about lighting. Have we looked into that yet with the power company to see if we can get
Now,
some?
lighting's not on the list yet, so we'd have to, what we really need to do is go walk it with somebody that tells us where they want the lights.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I know we do have, under the grant and the previous thing, we have a list of items that need to be checked off and put in before we start adding things that weren't on the previous grant, so but I think there should be enough, but we do need to keep awareness of that. Like,
Okay,
for
yeah, we're
example,
just getting close to March they'll be wrapping up session, and, they've been very good to give us funding to help with that. So if there is anything, if that's something we can look into
Yeah.
and maybe go out, walk it, say, okay,
Assess
we
it.
may need this, that way we can go back and ask again.
Right.
Just so we don't have, that way we can complete everything we want to complete. And
Our top three priorities, as told to our legislators, are the money we need to finish the Coon Street boat ramp, money we need to finish the Hiller Park boat ramp, and dredging money. Now, there are other things on our list, but those were the three top priorities we gave them, so.
yeah, I've got
if
some
you're able to
dredging money
fish some more
committed.
money, ask them not to push those other ones out.
Okay, I've got some dredging money committed too that's coming down, that'll be coming down this year. But I just, if we can walk that, look and see if there's anything else we can think of, look at the budget and, come up with a ballpark figure of what we may need to ask, if there is any more ask, and let me know on that.
Let me say this, next week, I think on the agenda, has some things to do with the underwater vegetation. When it comes to dredging, we're going to have an alternative so we can dredge to have this mitigated, so to speak. And so we're asking on the next agenda, I think it's Pelican, who will have, I think, the two different parts of their engineering to help us relocate things so it can be dredged, even we get the money. But that's an obstacle, just, that Corps and everybody else has indicated. So we're going to ask next week to, for the council to approve a part of engineering services to do just like that, to enable the dredging to take place. And I think that's what Pelican, Cypress, excuse me, Cypress. Yeah.
The last thing is I'd like to just give a shout out to Mike Hosley and his crew. they've jumped on several things here in the last couple of weeks that have popped up and taken good care of them. So I'd like to give them a shout out for taking care of those. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Barrett. Two items. One is just making folks aware, I have a Ward 5 meeting scheduled for Wednesday, March 9th at 6 o'clock at the Snyder Center. It's still a number of weeks away, but just to get that out there. The second thing is I want to alert the council that we'll have an executive session scheduled prior to the recess of this meeting today, so it'll be at the end of the meeting, regarding United Bridge Partners and the Pops Ferry Bridge. Having said that, that concludes the council reports. We'll move to the public agenda. Well, that was quite a ringtone.
That's what
The next thing on the agenda is the public agenda. Citizens' comments will allot up to 45 minutes, allow each individual who wishes to address the council 3 minutes. It's not a question and answer period. It's an opportunity for citizens to comment. And I would remind you that if you do wish to comment, come up to the table, have a seat, sign in with your name and address, then state your name clearly so the clerk can record your name accurately, and just keep an eye on the clock. We limit you to 3 minutes. That being said, is there anybody on my left, your right? Anybody on my left, your right, who wishes to address the council? Anybody on my right, your left, wish to address the council? Anybody in the back? Yes, sir. All right, thank you, Mr. Parks. Last call, anybody else wish to address the council? Okay, that concludes citizens' comments. We'll move to the policy agenda. If the clerk would read item A, please.
Resolution granting conditional use approval for an outdoor storage facility for 939 Tommy Monroe Drive.
I'll move it.
There's a motion by Mr. Glavin. Is there a second?
I'll second.
A second by Mr. Barrett. All right, move to discussion, comments. Mr. Glavin?
Yeah, this is, I mean, you can read the description of it, but basically, the developer and owner would like to use this piece of land for recreational vehicle storage and related activities. There is a question from the medical community and businesses in this area. Does it encroach or does it conflict with some of their activities? I'm not so sure it does. Sometimes there's a confusion when people say RVs that it's trailers or a trailer park. And I don't think this is being developed for a trailer park. And I think the intention of this commercial area is just that, for commercial, industrial, and medical activities. I would ask for you to support it.
Thank you, Mr. Glavin. Mr. Barrett, anything to add to that?
I have nothing.
Any further discussion, questions from the council? Mr. Lawrence?
One question. McKinney, they can only park RVs there, nothing else?
Can they park it? I think Jerry.
Anything else other than RVs?
There we go. No, they can park RVs or boats there. It would be a recreational vehicle storage facility is what's being proposed. The concerns we had at the Planning Commission hearing were from a doctor's office across the street that just wanted to make sure that there wasn't going to be traffic jams or anything like that happening that would interfere with their business. But very seldom do you ever see more than one RV or one boat entering or leaving at the same time. So we don't see that as being a problem.
Any other questions from the council? Any other comments? I will call for the question. All in favor of the resolution as presented? It's approved on a 6-0 vote for the clerk. Thank you. No, ma'am. The time to speak on this matter would have been during citizens' comments earlier. On this particular matter? Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. That brings us to item B. If the clerk would read that resolution, please.
Resolution granting tax exemption for Community Bank.
I'll entertain a motion.
What are we offering here, if you'd like to discuss this? It's tax abatement?
Get it on the table first. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
There's a
Well,
motion by
I'll move
Mr.
to
Barrett. Is
discuss.
there a second? Second by Mr. Deming. All right. Nathan, comment or question?
No comment.
Mr. Deming, comment or question? Mr. Lawrence, questions?
What are we doing with this, Mayor? This is,
50 like we did the incentive.
all right, Peter?
This is an application by Community Bank asking for a 5-year, 50% property tax abatement for the new Community Bank building.
We still been doing those? I mean, I thought we'd quit doing them. I was just trying to figure out if we still doing them.
I mean, it's been
I
two
thought
and
we
a-
quit doing them.
Well, we did 2.5 years ago. This is when this thing became part of the equation. So I think we support this particular abatement application. Again, it's vital to what's going to be developed, and it was the sort of the anchor store, if you will, of what's going on. So we think it's appropriate. But 5 years, 50%. It used to be 7 years. Used to be a number of percentages. But I think. I think, as I said, we support this, and we're, a significant investment in, 60 months from late, when it goes, when it terminates, then a pretty good chunk of the ad valorem will be back on the tax roll.
Okay, I thought we'd quit. I'm just trying to find out. We did not then.
This was 2.5 years ago when we started this, okay? So there were some applications and some availability at that point in time, Again, we've had a number of things. As you know, in 15, 16, we actually cut the percentage down. 5 years, nobody asked for more than that. In 15 and 16, I think, what did 16? So, again, I think this is appropriate for this thing, for this particular project.
It's not a facade grant.
No.
It's a request for tax abatement that any new business can do if they meet certain criteria, such as hotel or tourism or something that's substantial investment, architecturally significant. Those are the criteria.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure, I didn't know a bank was one of those, so. I know it's a big investment. But
Well,
go ahead.
let me explain, I think, the criteria. But for these opportunities, it's sort of the criteria, not after the fact, so to speak, but this has been on their radar and on our radar for a while. So we're not really contradicting our sort of plan as far as abatements and rebates. So it's been there for a number of months when when we actually redid the street, and that kind of was part of the deal, part of their calculation and the investment that they made.
Anything else, Mr. Lawrence? Mr. Guines?
Yeah, I think this is a great opportunity. This is what this is designed for. We've used this in the past. We hadn't used it in a while. And it's used to look at blighted areas to try to give it a shot in the arm. And by them moving the business, growing bigger, growing better, it gives us an opportunity to ignite this area here, the downtown area. So I'm all for tax abatements. I'm all for growing businesses in the area. And with the way the economy goes up and down, we want to make sure that we have the opportunity to attract all the businesses we could. And this is a perfect example of what this was created for. So thank you.
Ms. Newman, a comment or question?
Yes, and I'd like to add to that. It's a beautiful addition to our downtown area. I mean, stunning. And we're talking about a piece of property that was empty with potholes throughout the whole piece of land for how long? So abatement is nothing because there was nothing there. And I would go ahead and amend it for the whole 7 years at 100% if I knew y'all would approve it, but whatever.
But Mr. Deming had a comment. I'll get to you next. Do you have a comment after Nathan?
The criteria, what is the criteria for this?
Again, but for, when this whole opportunity for tax abatement, we did it in a number of things back in
Mayor,
15 and 16.
Oh, let me be clear, like, I'm not challenging it.
No.
I'm for it. The reason why I'm asking this is in the past, I was challenged, and Dixie and others were challenged about abatements because of what they were being used for, and there were some on the council that would argue that it's not going to generate enough tax, sales tax, and different income streams like that. This gives us a basis to say we can do this for any business in any area, and I'm or any qualified area, and I'm supportive of this. So I just wanted to know what we wrote in here as the criteria to make sure that we do comport with it, and we can do this for anybody.
Yeah, we will, based on the criteria of development, and like 60 months is sort of a short period. We actually, back when, in 15 and 16, reevaluate. Some people were asking for 10 years, 7 years, 100%, 90%, 10%, whatever. The two things that, from my position, is this is a difference. This abatement is a difference. Why they would come and put that, and it's not but far. I think that's the question that some of these lawyers, have talked about. This was actually part of their equation when they looked at the operations center that they set up. And again, I'm fully supportive of that. This is not go build it and then ask for it. This is part of the equation when they actually invested for the operation.
Yeah,
But it's 5 years. I think our hard and fast situation, and we've told to the number of folks, even if it is before the fact, it's 5 years, 50. 60 months is really just a short time, and then you'll be really generating some significant ad valorem and personal property too.
So what was the? Do we know what we're giving up? What the generation was prior to this development? Is it three?
Zero. As a federal court, building, it was no money, zero.
No improvements.
No improvements and no tax. The federal government owned it.
I take that as a win. Thank you.
Mr. Barrett?
Seconding what Ms. Newman said, there was a building and a piece of property that was an eyesore, and now we have a beautiful building, attractive, that will help attract other businesses downtown. Not to mention that if we look to our neighbors to the north and how successful their abatements have been, if we had have done more of these in the past, a lot of those businesses may be in Biloxi. So anytime we had the opportunity to do something like this and attract a business to Biloxi that otherwise was going to end up somewhere else, I'm for it.
Thank you, Mr. Barrett. Mr. Glavin?
Yeah, just look at it. I think it's beyond dispute that it's certainly an upgrade of what we had before. It certainly is on the improvements of the property that they acquired, and then it's not, the school taxes are not abated. They still have to pay the school taxes. I just want everybody that's listening to this to know that. As far as the abatement process, the council gave up the authority for the most part to the mayor at his discretion at all these projects to decide what percentage. And for the most of your actions have been around 50%. That seems to be the sweet spot, but it could be 100%. It could be whatever the discretion or the impact of said development is going to bring to Biloxi and the citizens of Biloxi. So again, a big win for Biloxi. Good job, and congratulations to the community.
Just a couple of comments here before we vote on this matter. I'm not in favor of it, and I'd like to explain why. I think it's a good bank, good company, good people. It bothers me, and this is not the first time that we've had abatements or tax exemptions requested at the last minute. Part of the criteria is, I believe it's item I, the city council may grant an exemption only if the council finds that if the tax exemption is not granted, the development or expansion would not occur. They're fixing to cut the ribbon when? A couple of weeks from
May.
now?
But this conversation, excuse me, I'm retorting as
Go
far
ahead.
as, this
Retort.
conversation started two years ago, what to expect. It's not after the fact that they just, wait a minute, we can get this job. And again, I think the sweet spot, the 5 years, 60 months situation is just go by just like that. But also, I mean, it really is the but for. I mean, it was a factor in them, investing in that corner.
It may have been, but again, timing in this issue is what troubles me. That's why I can't support it. Okay, it's just if folks are going to develop here in Biloxi, let's get all this, straight at the get-go. Request it early. Don't request it. And this has happened before. It's not just with Community Bank. There have been other instances where it's, well, yeah, we'll approve an exemption. They're already here. They're not going anywhere else. They've already built. And if this had been requested a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I would have no problem with it. That concludes my comments. All in favor of the resolution as presented? All opposed? 6-1. All right, thank you. That brings us to the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion.
Moved.
By Mr. Lawrence, second.
I'll second.
By Mr. Guines. We'll go through them one at a time. Let me start with Mr. Barrett here in Ward 7.
I hope I'm starting a trend with this many items on the agenda, but I have no questions, no comments.
It could. Remember, one incident does not make a trend. Let's see how we get 2 or 3 data points. Mr. Glavin?
I also have no comments on the consent agenda.
Mr. Deming, you could be the trend maker here. Appears to be a trend. Ms. Newman, anything? Mr. Guines, anything?
I'm good.
Mr. Lawrence, anything?
He's good.
Yes.
He's good. He's good.
Attaboy.
Last week on A and B, I asked y'all to table this so I could sit down and talk to them A and B.
Yeah, okay.
So I'd like you to explain to everybody exactly what we put on the table today. We opened up the contract for 1092, and the
I
rest.
asked David to come to the table because I'll do the heavy lifting here, but basically this is something that was pushed from last week, and it's primarily establishing the point area, as you and I have spoken about, the area at Pine Street from 5th Street to the highway and across Howard Avenue, and with the idea of some projects that are happening on both the old 5th Street plant as well as old 5th Street Margaritaville and development in and around that, and tying Pine Street across, I think, an area that's have a little bridge work, but it won't impact that facility that Biloxi Housing Authority has. But the development on both 5th Street, the original Margaritaville, hotel development, apartment development, a number of other things, as well as tying in that pathway, not across the railroad tracks. That was the big thing. Now, David Machado and Machado Patano Engineering knows more about Pine Street because of the other project where we were going to take Bayview, tie it in across the railroad tracks and shut down a number of things. So we felt that in meeting with him, we would need to require some engineering in order to make this thing happen, as well as the development that will happen. Build that Pine Street entrance, and if we're successful with the exit ramp from Biloxi Ocean Springs Bridge down Howard Avenue, improve Howard Avenue, improve especially at Pine Street, because that is the bowl. You know how it floods there even in high tide. So not a complete 4-lane boulevard-looking thing that was going to cost $17 million doing the for our project, but just an improvement of just a minimal amount of feet to the west, that we could use some of the money that's already being placed in, that's going to be used doing the knee case improvements, St. Michael's 1 and 2, and then have a boulevard that will actually development and really develop things from Oak Street as well as Pine Street and Fifth Street to Highway 90. And again, you know, of the amusement park and the investment proposed investment both on the north and the south side at Pine Street. And that's what we're asking. Establish the project. We're going to engage Machado Patano to actually do the lifting and preliminary design. Should we get the right, I guess, funding from different sources, we'll go forward. But this is, I think he can answer specific questions on why we're doing this, but, I think it's very important that we make the move at this point in time.
Mr. Machado, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you. David Machado Patano. Just to echo a little bit what the mayor said, I've been working on Pine Street since 2015. And it's, I believe at this point, we've flipped it 180 degrees, and instead of coming from north to south, we're going south to north, and is kind of the game plan right now, because you've got some key development occurring and coming up that would qualify some funds that are available to us at the state level to go do this thing. But the first trigger, and that's always been the first trigger to be able to go get those funds, is to have some preliminary engineering done, have some really good estimates of what it's going to take. It does piggyback on the FEMA project that Nikkei is doing, so there's a lot of infrastructure in place already that is going to, you're going to be able to leverage those and do that a lot cheaper than you would have otherwise had you not used that FEMA money. So that's a plus. And I think it's just a great time to get what we believe is some money available at the state level that was sort of earmarked for the north part of this project originally, based on some of the development plans that were going on up there years ago, whereas now there's some you have down on the south end that can trigger this event, and we can go get this money. And this is, in my humble opinion, the only chance the point has to have any kind of development. We got to be able to put some infrastructure and some road development in place for it to come back. And that's my humble opinion about it.
Well, let me jump into, and David's been with some of the prospective investors of that are excited about a couple things. A brand new infrastructure that we will have, as well as it is in an opportunity zone, and that's higher on the radar than it's ever been since 17 and 18. So it isn't right slap in the middle of the opportunity zone.
100%.
So if you give them a proper, a graceful entrance and exit to that property south of the railroad tracks, but along brand new streets, and the ability, literally. This is an opportunity with very low investment to get it ready and get it funded.
Yeah.
A question. I know we're finishing up the FEMA project, and you're doing your study, so it's not on the table yet what you plan on doing. But that's the first question a lot of people ask. They have to finish what they're doing now. There's nothing to do with what we're going to do. The FEMA thing makes it cheaper, like you said, because it's already laid out. And you're going to the west, how many feet to make it wide enough?
It's a 60-foot right-of-way there, so you'd be going to the west. You'd have to go a little bit east end. No right-of-way. The right-of-way is there. So everything that is being studied right now would fit inside the existing right-of-way.
The expansion, that's right.
But it would just make the road a little bit wider, and for the most part, it would grow about 12 feet to the west.
All right. So that's all would be done after all you finish, not you, when they finish with the FEMA project.
It would be after yes, because all FEMA and MEMA will pay for is what was there before.
Right.
So we have to stay in that footprint of what was there before, but it's still, you got all brand new subgrade and everything within that 24-foot section of the existing Pine Street, and that's major. That's
right.
A lot of, and water, sewer, all the underground's done. There's main drainage there that we can utilize that will make you be able to leverage this next round of funds to improve this and give you a really good beginning to the point coming back.
Right. Let me add too, I think the most costly part of the deal is the use of some bridge work to tie from the north part of Pine Street into Fifth Street to the east of the existing Biloxi Housing Authority.
That's correct. The lion's share of it comes where Pine Street stops now currently, because it just kind of dead ends into nothing. but to go ahead and bring that across that small bayou there and go into Fifth Street.
You got to get the big ditch there before you get to Fifth Street. So
Correct.
you have to bridge that, I guess.
That's
or
right.
whatever.
Yes, sir.
Getting from Pine Street to Fifth Street is going to be the hard part. Not getting up Fifth Street.
That's right.
Up-
Yeah, it's the
Yes,
most
sir.
costly part.
That's
Part of the
correct.
crossing.
David, it's not hard, it's just costly.
That's right. It's just, yeah, it just costs money and it is some time. But I think, this, comprehensively looks at circulation and everything and to make sure that, like, the way this was before, it was just kind of a one lane, that's not a good term, but a one-way look at, let's go support this one development. Whereas this study is a comprehensive look at the circulation and some of the flooding issues on the point with the roadways and things like that to be able to really give it a shot and give it to come back.
Yeah, at the top part of Pine Street there to the east, a number of water.
Right.
So a lot of people look at it like it's solid, but it's not but water. That's what they used to moor all the boats.
Right.
Bring all the shrimp boats back up in there.
Yes, sir.
And I think David had mentioned too, there's some Gulf Regional Planning Commission monies that may be able to be utilized because of this east-west corridor that had been
Right.
talked about.
It's arguably, can tie into some east-west corridor work. So, I mean, that's why I say this approach is a complete look at the entire circulation and infrastructure roadways back on the point.
At the back end, you got the senior citizen building,
Yes, sir.
and then in front of that was the projects. That's all HUD property.
Correct.
You have to deal with them at all?
No, it's skirting over to the east, away from them. Once it starts getting back to the north side of Pine Street, it kind of goes over to the east and then takes a little turn and ties into Fifth Street. Because you also got the Palace warehouse back there and all that, so it's got to jog over to the east some.
Do they own that property or leasing the property, Palace?
I believe they own it.
I think 4 is a little bit to the west.
Yes, correct.
A question to the mayor. We've heard a lot of people talk about the foot of Fifth Street with the casinos. Is anybody actually looking at that? Or we
Well, I
just getting,
can't say.
is it anything solid? Or we just,
People are looking at Fifth Street, let me say, in a number of ways. You mentioned, Biloxi Housing Authority, and, actually from Chula to the facility and Chula to 3rd Street. That's high on some people's radar. So this will only help, the infrastructure that we would do, as well as, again, the Opportunity Zone is going to enable that, as you said, circulation to make it a stronger case for investment.
okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions, Mr. Lawrence? Is that it?
Oh, yeah, but another thing, I know we're getting ready to vote on the audit. I was going to make note that they was 6 months late, and they should be held responsible for that. Going to vote for it because people don't realize they're holding up our grant money, bond money, and everything else without this audit being passed. Correct?
We need an audit in a timely way, and, we push of course, we did have to deal with COVID and some of these other issues, and that kind of stopped a lot of things. We do need that, and you can't argue. It needs to be in our hands in a timely way.
Yeah, but it affects the city big time. So, I mean, they need to do the job or get somebody else that can do the job. It's that simple. That might be it so far. One thing here.
Okay.
On what is this, the sports complex? The sports complex?
Yeah.
How much money you have in this?
7 million, I think. With 6.5, I think we estimated. Was that 6.5? It could be more, could be less, but I mean, now's the time to pull the trigger as fast as we possibly can, with regard to interest rates. And I think if you need a report, I think it kind of states the facility, the resulting facility will make us so much more competitive and draw the folks that we want to that thing. And we, to minimize the amount of ongoing maintenance, we maybe take 16 people to run operation at 12, 16, we'll be half that at least. But then we'll have a, top-notch complex that will do soccer and do everything we can think of. 6.5 million is the answer.
No problem. My thing is, we got a couple of opportunities right now, and this is in Mr. Dimmon's ward. Is there any way we could add money to this thing and put 24 pickleball.
Anything's possible given time and money.
Because, I mean, they need 24 to run these big national tournaments.
We did consider that opportunity, not so much in AJ, but for recreation, from Pillar Park to the pickleball and some of these other things.
Mr. Mayor.
This is for recreation. Let's figure out where the top opportunity is, and again, we're going to be asking to finance this thing over a number of 25 years, which will have an ability for us to do a lot of things quickly and have some revenue source, from the use tax that we haven't really delineated or allocated to do these things. We just got to put them in action, and I think that's what we're asking.
And I just want to make the councilman aware, we have acknowledged that need. Ms. Bell, the CAO, and yourself, we've all discussed this, and
Yeah.
the need's well known.
Yeah.
We're addressing it.
All right, anything else, Mr. Lawrence?
Well, I was going to say, because I've seen them on TV, there's 24 courts. It's unbelievable. 700-800 people go to these things. And these people bring the fine RVs, and they have money. I know we all do the kids, the traveling team. But I mean, these people have money.
Yeah.
They have a great time. They support everything in the city. So we need to stop and make sure that gets done. That's all.
I think, Ms. Bell, what do we have already, 199 players signed up? So it is growing.
Was that it, Mr. Lawrence?
Oh, I want to ask Diane one question real quick. And this is on page 28 in the audit book. The 19 million negative, the unrestricted money, that's supposed to be a positive thing for us?
Unrestricted.
That's in the Port Commission.
Cash, unrestricted cash, is that what?
Yeah, 28, page 28.
Might need to
Phyllis
get
got it. Phyllis got
might
it
need
right.
to get a microphone back there.
It was 30 million, you got the restricted negative 19, so we got 11 cash.
David, David want to come up. This is unrestricted, 19 million dollars. On what page, Dave?
28.
Page 28.
28, bottom row.
Tell them, get them.
28, bottom row.
Yeah, it's the Biloxi Port Fund.
Yes.
Sorry.
I know.
David Newman with Pilts Williams LaRosa. Yes, on page 28, the unrestricted net position for it's the Biloxi Port Fund is the column. And if you look at the net investment in capital assets, it's 30.5 million. So the total net position for the port fund's 11,244,000 net. It's all invested in capital assets. Just a line item breakout.
So it's a positive, that's a positive thing for the city.
It's positive. The port fund has 11,244,652 is the total net position.
Yeah, we had that cash.
Cash is the top row, 4,382,473, with restricted cash of 117,950. We're still on page 28 on that same column. And there's investments as well of 114,632.
So I just said a negative 19 million is actually a positive thing for the city.
Yeah, it's fund balance.
Well, it's a breakout between restricted, which is the net investment in capital assets, and unrestricted. So, yeah, you're correct. The unrestricted is negative, but overall, it's 11,244,000 to the positive. If you're looking at the numbers.
Anything else, Mr. Lawrence? Okay. I have
That's
a
enough.
couple,
Thank you.
several items. Thank you, Mr. Newman.
All right.
Several items on item K, recognizing funds from the Department of Revenue, infrastructure modernization, and this is really an associated question. How much money do we have left in the paving project
Paving bond.
right now?
Municipal paving, we began the fiscal year with a little over $1 million. There's a little less than $1 million right now.
Okay.
And that is composed of two elements. One is some leftover 2019 bond money, and some of it is earlier dumps from the internet sales funds.
Right, and those internet sales funds are to be used for roads and bridges, that kind of stuff. All right, thank you. On items R and S, this deals with the signalization and of the community college entrance that they're proposing off Pass Road, really just two things. One is there's no cost to the city for either of these items. Am I correct in that?
That's correct.
The community co-
We have an agreement with the Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College that they will pay the city share if we sponsor them for that intersection.
Right, and the intersections, I believe the requests, the grants, whatever, they have to be made by the city since,
Right.
is that correct?
As to the MPO from the city. So we're basically acting in their stead, and they have agreed to pay our share as an 80-20 match. So it's a good bit of change that they've agreed to. Now, understand that all we're doing is asking for that. We're not that. There's no guarantee we're going to get that money, but if we do get it, that there's a match, and that match will be paid for by the community college.
Right, we're applying for a grant. We may get it, we may not. The community college basically pays the local
Yeah.
shares. There's no cost to the city.
Important for us to do this now, because this is the time that the transportation improvement program is being put together for the next 3 years. And so we've got a date just in a month or so, and actually in a week or so is the cutoff for that application. So understand, and I'm saying this more for the camera than you, because you know this answer. Understand that we're not approving the road, we're not approving the intersection, we're just asking for permission to go get the funds to build the signals and so forth, should the road be built.
Thank you. And the only other question I have on that topic is that the intersection, I believe, is going to be, just a head nod would be fine, would be about where Hickory runs into Pass Road. Hickory is a road, little road from Fernwood Road to Pass Road, right there at that intersection. So as you pass Goose Point, there's a steel building there, Cajun Planters. It's going to be immediately, basically adjacent to that.
Correct.
Some people want to know where that road's going. It'll go north to what is now Eula Street, and that's proposed phase one, the last I heard, and that's all we're talking about at this point with the community college. But there is a phase two at some point that would continue north from Eula Street roughly to Runnymede, about where the entrance to Channel Mark is now. That's my understanding.
And this will all come out when the college follows the same process that everybody else does through the Development Review Committee and through the Planning Commission. All those details will come out, no secrets.
Right. All right, let's see. Item C. This is a lease agreement with Design Precast and Pipe. This is a parcel located on Back Bay, and I think we're looking at leasing it for 7 months. And I've had some folks ask me about where this laydown yard, I think, is what it's going to be used for. There's a little, I guess, cut or a canal or whatever, and my understanding is that a lot of the shrimpers use that to lay by and make repairs and prep their boats for the coming season. And there's also a boat launch there at the southern end. Hang on just a moment. So I mean, their concern is where am I gonna go to prep my boat and repair my boat? I've been using that area and I won't have access to it, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, they're not going to block that channel. There's going to be an offload right on a catty corner, about 45 degrees off the perpendicular to that channel. It won't be blocked. And you know, it's usually they'll take the boom and lay it down to do some welding or something like that. You know, it should not be a problem.
Okay, so
No.
they won't have to move. They can continue to do what they've always.
You have to move it maybe a little bit further up if the barges and so forth. But basically, this is a project, the MR project, that's going to be precasting these pieces of concrete and then loading them onto a barge. But it will not impact that.
But to be clear, they'll still be able to use that area to do what they've been doing.
Right.
Okay, thank you. On item LL.
Exactly. So this is where they're going to put that barge.
And I just want to note something here. It's an application and then a match, a 20% local match. And I'm just worried if there's a typo. The last page of the application shows a 20% match of $420,000, whereas previously it's listed as 525,000. I may have misread that, but I don't think I did. I'm just wondering, I see two numbers, and I'm figuring one of them can't be accurate, but I just don't know which one is.
What's the number again?
It's going to be 5LL. It's the STP funding, Pops Ferry Extension, Coast Metropolitan Planning Organization, MDOT.
Project, that's the Pops Ferry extension, extra. Never mind, we're asking for extra.
That's 20% of 2.1 million.
I'm thinking the 420,000 is the correct figure, but
Oh, the local share. Well, let's do a calculator.
it's usually never good when an attorney breaks out a calculator.
I didn't touch this resolution, so I'm independent, so.
There you go. Okay. I'm thinking a fifth of 2.1 million is going to be 420,000. That's why I'm thinking that's the accurate.
Just double the 2-1, you got it. They get 420.
25% is 525, but 20%. All right. You want to table it and just find out the right number? Has it got to go?
It's 20%.
420.
Okay.
20% of 2.1 million.
Right, so the correct figure is 420,000, correct?
All right, good.
Understand what we're doing is, we currently in the, I held it up before, the TIP, Transportation Improvement Program, we have in there federal monies of 2.163 million with a $540,000 match that was put in for additional construction money for the Pops Ferry extension. What we're doing is asking for another 2.1 million with the appropriate match.
Okay, so this is a second one with an appropriate match. The first one was the match of 525,000.
The tip actually shows it as 540. Whether or not that's the right 20%.
Okay, I'm just looking for what's the official figure for what we're asking for here.
Is
the
the
local.
20%, is the 20% match, 20%.
400,000, $420,000.
So what's in the resolution?
I mean, I'm getting word from our grant manager that it's not a typo, so I don't
Okay,
know if you want to table it or.
that makes sense. I'll move on. We're losing it. No, I don't think we need to table it. All right, just we'll alert the clerk. All right, and we'll check on that maybe. Okay, we'll move on at this point then while we're waiting to hear. All right, we have a motion. Any other questions on the consent agenda? There being none, we'll call for the question. All in favor of the consent agenda is presented.
That's what's in there.
All opposed, that's approved on a 7-0 vote. We'll look for exceptions. Mr. Barrett, do you have an exception? Any except, Mr. Glavin?
I mean, since there's a question on this particular measure, I'll have to reserve voting for it, so I know what voting on this resolution.
Whatever, it's 2.7.
I'll have to.
20% of 2.1 is 420, so she's saying it doesn't work that way. That's 525.
Right, and I'll continue with Mr. Glavin's reading. I'm in favor of everything, but I'll reserve my judgment on this particular item. That's item LL, till we know something a little further. We may come back and do something. Let's kind of see what other exceptions we might have.
There are no other exceptions, but my suggestion would be to withdraw our vote, pull that out, and table that.
Okay, we'll do.
Why don't let's see if we can clear it up when we go into executive session, by the time we come back out.
Well, but we're voting on this right now, and any exceptions are going to be noted right now. So why don't we take, I would
Lay that item on the table.
make a
As,
motion.
as I'm on the prevailing side of the vote, I'll move to bring the item, give me the agenda number,
LL.
to bring LL back to the table for reconsideration. Do I have a second?
All right.
What's in the resolution?
Okay, so it's 525,000 is the correct number. Okay, as long as that's the correct number,
And I appreciate you being patient with me because we only have 1 week left to make the cutoff on asking for this money, so.
right.
I'll withdraw my motion.
Okay, so 525,000 is the correct match.
The correct number.
Okay.
For that match,
Okay.
because it's 20%.
Objection. Okay, I have no exceptions. Mr. Deming, Ms. Newman, Mr. Guines.
I don't know what we're talking about. I hear y'all talking over there. Y'all just mumbling and going on, and I can't hear a darn thing.
Okay. So
you
we
need
had
to
a
bring me
question.
up to date.
We had a question of what the amount of the match was on item LL, whether it was 420,000 or 525,000. There was some discussion about that. Now we've confirmed that the local match is 525,000. Correct, Mr. Leonard?
Okay, and we already voted on the consent agenda, correct?
No, we voted on the consent agenda. Now we're looking for any exceptions.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I'm good.
No exceptions, okay. Mr. Lawrence, any exceptions? Not a one, okay, that's good. No exceptions, that's approved on a 7-0 vote. Thank you very much for everybody's patience. That brings us to code enforcement hearings. Mr. Creel?
Yeah, have her make the copy for us.
So when you add those two together.
Okay, we'll open with item A, a code enforcement hearing, Ancillary Capital LLC. The property is 218 Raynor Street. Mr. Creel?
This property's still in violation.
Anybody you know?
Deep in thought.
That's the beach, isn't it?
I'll be there in my tux. Lamosque right after that.
Look at the size of that pothole. Anybody here to speak on the matter of 218 Raynor Street? Or anybody representing Ancillary Capital LLC?
I have a question. Did they make an attempt? They cleaned it up, but just didn't get the trees?
It does look like they cut the grass, yes.
Okay, could we give them, if they cut the grass and brought it down, can we just give them another 30 days to get the rest out?
We would be fine with that, yes.
Okay. I move that we give them 30 more days to get the trees out.
There's a motion by Mr. Guines for a 30-day extension. I think there was a second by Mr. Lawrence. Is that correct?
Correct.
Any discussion?
Yeah, just, Jerry, have we communicated with them? So if we give them 30, are they acknowledging that there's still stuff they're gonna do?
They have signed our notices, so they're aware that this hearing was going on. I've not had any communication with them. I'll check with the code enforcement officer to find out.
Okay, I just wanna make sure that they're aware of the few things that we're still alleging that they have to comply with.
Okay,
You good?
Thank you.
check on that.
All right, all in favor of a 30-day extension? All right, thank you. That's a 6-0 vote. Thank you.
Give them a
We'll open the next hearing, Wilbert and Elizabeth Holland at 386 Lee Street. Mr. Creel?
Okay. Item B and C have the same street address, but it's two lots, so they have two separate parcel numbers, but both of these are still in violation.
Close that hearing. We'll open the next one. You said there are two different parcels, Mr. Creel. Again, this is Wilbert and Elizabeth Holland. This is at 386 Lee Street, but it's a separate parcel.
That's correct.
It's still in violation.
Still in violation, yes, sir.
Is anyone here to speak on this matter? 386 Lee Street, Wilbert, Elizabeth Holland. All right, this hearing is closed. That brings us to the last hearing for the day, Deborah S. Morris, and it's, I guess, an unnumbered parcel on Seal Avenue.
That case has been resolved.
Resolved, that's a good thing. Thank you, Mr. Creel.
No, we ain't have to repeat that one. I think that zero.
Yeah, that brings us to the routine agenda.
On the sand beach.
I'll entertain a motion
Move.
by Mr. Lawrence.
I'll second. I'll second.
All right, thank you, Mr. Guines.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mr. Brody?
Good afternoon, council. It's been a little bit slow with MEMA and the Horn Group because they added the additional $500,000. So that took a little bit more time for them to review because it's made up of numerous invoices. But I just got contact with MEMA right before our council meeting, and it's supposed to start being processed now. So we should have it by mid-March. So that's 2.45 million.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the routine agenda? I'll call for the question. All in favor? It's approved on a 6-0 vote. That brings us to an executive session. I need a motion and a second, and the council will go into a closed session for the purposes of examining the necessity to go into executive session to
So moved.
discuss United Bridge Partners' proposal for the Pops Ferry Bridge. There's a motion by Mr. Lawrence,
I'll second.
a second by Mr. Guines. All in favor? It's approved on a 6-0 vote. It isn't. A 5-1 vote. I'll need a motion and a second that the council conclude the closed session and reconvene in an open meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Lawrence. Second by I'll go with Mr. Guines on the second. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? All right, I'll need a motion and a second that the council actually go into executive session.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Lawrence, second by Mr. Guines. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Thank you. We're in executive session. Thank you.
Because this getting ready to get hot. Yeah. So, yeah,
I move it, Paul. We back in session there.
oh, you're back.
No. So, yeah, I got something here.
Put it on the Sunday paper now.
No. I'll talk with you after this.
Let's vote him back to work.
Okey-doke. I need a motion and second that the council conclude. There's a motion by Mr. Lawrence, a second by Mr. Guines, and that we reconvene an open meeting. All in favor? Mr. Deming, you vote no? No. Okay, that's a 5-1 vote. Just wanted to be sure. There was no action taken in executive session. This time, I'll entertain a motion to recess.
Recommend that we recess in memory of Dick Wilson, Colonel Dick Wilson, who passed away recently, and his contributions are many and far.
So, and we all second it.
That's it. What else you got?
All in favor? Very good. Okay, we'll go with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-0 vote.
Red pudding.
My bread or yours?
It's yours. I do